All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Afternoon Nuggets with the Mommy Juggler. Jatasha Harris here, founder and CEO of the Mommy Juggler, a women's empowerment company here to help women take the struggle out of the juggle. And that's exactly us moms, as wives, know what it is about that struggle, what it is to juggle the struggle, and really just need some peace of mind, some sanity, some support, some resources to help us to just kind of maintain our balanced life, but also while we're living our best life. And that's exactly what we strive to do here, but also provide some support and some services, and then just bring on different people to talk about things that we typically don't like to talk about. We may be too ashamed to talk about, maybe too embarrassed to talk about, or for whatever reasons. And so we don't ever want people to feel ashamed, embarrassed. Everything that we have gone through, we know is for our experience, and it's not just for us, it's also to help somebody else who may have went through it as well. So today we have the privilege and the honor to have a wonderful and amazing special guest with us who is going to share a topic that people typically do not talk about, but it actually needs to be talked about even more so we can help women that's going through this, to give them some support, but also some hope. And so that's what our prayer and our plan is today as you speak to our special guest, is to be able to get some hope from her story, because she has an amazing, amazing story. Her journey is remarkable, and her faith, which was unmovable, unshakable during the whole time. And not to say she didn't have any doubts and some questions, but she still decided to choose to stand on the word of God. And you are going to hear the miracle that happened because of it. So I am so excited, and I'm going to get myself out of the way so we can bring up and get ready to speak to none other than Mrs. Janine McFadden from Upper Darby, Philadelphia area. And she is going to share with us her journey of being diagnosed with something that's called PCOS, and she'll explain more of that to us, and what happened when she got the news, what did she have to do during, this whole process, because at some point she knew she wanted to have children, and then what ended up happening, what God did in her life to turn it around. So, Janine, welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here, Jatasha. Okay, I have to tell everybody how you and I met, first and foremost, and how amazing God is, and how God uses technology to connect individuals. I mean, amazing, okay? Yes. So I just want to honor you first for having a platform for women where we can talk about women's issues and not feel embarrassed, not feel guilt, not feel stigmatized. So I applaud you for opening up the doorway so that other women can hear this. So I just want to tell all of you how we met, okay? So I know us are Christian women, and whoever your spiritual higher power is when you're listening to this, you put out into the atmosphere that you desire something, or you need to do something. And no further that I prayed for this opportunity, I just happened to post something on Facebook and say, oh my goodness, if someone had the opportunity to interview me, man, I got a story to tell. Within 24 hours, Jatasha inboxed me and said, hey, I saw your post. And we talked for about an hour, just sharing stories and obstacles and challenges and things about life and how our faith has brought us through, which led me to you. So I am so excited to share a piece of me with everyone, and hope that through my healing and continued healing that I will help others to heal as well.
Amen.
Yes. So my name is Janine McFadden. I have been married for 10 years. Our 10-year anniversary was August 31st. Right? Clap it up. 10-year anniversary.
Ours is in 2 more weeks. Our 10 years in 2 more weeks.
Oh, Now, I have known my husband since high school, y'all.
Wow.
High school. So imagine that. That's almost like 20 years knowing him. And we have one 8-year-old son who I call our miracle.
That's right.
So, Jatasha, tell me what you want me to share first. And then I'm willing to share anything that you ask.
Okay, let's do it. So, yes, first let's talk about, when you got the news. So we know that this segment, because we have put it on the post, is going to be talking about, infertility and things like that and PCOS. And so bring us to speak, because you told us now that you and your husband have been together now 10 years, been married, and that's amazing, because a lot of times we don't hear that. And you've known each other long before that, which is awesome. But when was the first time you discovered, before you even heard from the doctor, or you thought maybe there was something going on? Bring us there and then take us to when you went to the doctor.
Yeah. So we all start our menstrual cycles in our teenage years. For me, I was about 14, 15 years old. It would come and then be absent for like months at a time. And, initially when you're first getting your cycle, you go to your family doctor or your pediatrician. At that time, they're like, let's just wait a couple years and see if things catch up, because it's still new, So I did that, and then, high school would come in. I'm like, all right, it's been about 4 years now. Shouldn't my cycle be regular? And I kind of put it off on the back burner. I mean, I would have extreme, excruciating cramps whenever I didn't have my cycle for long periods of time. So it would be like, I'm talking about 3-4 months going between. And then all of a sudden, I would have a menstrual cycle. And I would be excruciating pain to the point where I couldn't go to class sometimes. Finally, I was about 18 years old. And that's when I went for my first GYN exam. And I told her about my irregular cycles. And she said, Janine, I really think you might have PCOS. And, you're 18. You don't know what that means, PCOS. You're like, okay. Well, how do I make my cycles regular,
Right.
And how do I make it less painful? And at the time, she's like, all right, we're going to put you on the low-dose birth control pill. And I'm like, birth control pill? Wait a minute. There's nothing going on here. Why do I need to be on birth control? And she said, well, it'll regulate your cycles. So I took the birth control to regulate my cycles. That was the first time that I found out that I had the condition, but not knowing the underlying possibility of having trouble with conceiving and following through on a pregnancy.
Wow. So that's the first time. And you said that was when, let me go back to when you had irregular cycles, you right away started going to the doctor, or went to the doctor, or you waited some time?
Like, it was something that was mentioned to, like, the family doctor. So I might have been, like, 15, and my mom was like, there's something going on. The cycles are regular, and the family doctor kind of poo-pooed it off, and said, well, let's just see if things catch up. It could be because she's still developing, and the cycle has to get on track. But I knew something was wrong, because I was like, okay, I shouldn't be having this much pain with my cycle. What is going on? And I don't know how much you guys know about PCOS, but basically when you don't have a cycle, your uterine lining doesn't shed. So when you go months without having a cycle, that's like a pileup of your uterine lining having to shed. So you go 3-4 months without a cycle, then you have 3-4 months of your uterine lining needing to shed. And that's painful.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it like, woo, man, because sometimes 1 month could be a little painful. So months? Yes.
Right.
Wow. That's good. So that answers it, because I don't know a lot about it, but I have heard of it, and I have some friends that gone through it. but didn't know the details. So thank you for shedding light. And I asked you that question because I want people who are viewing that may have teenage daughters right now who, like you said, the family doctor put it off. Instead of putting it off, maybe looking at it right away. So that's good that you broke that down for us to let us know. Okay.
Right.
So, I think that's really important.
Definitely
so now
ask questions. Ask questions. You know, if you feel like something is not right, ask questions. When you take your teenage daughter to the doctor.
Gotcha. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. So now what about, so when you got on the birth control pill and all of that stuff, what happened after that? Was everything regulated? Did you feel better?
So I had regular cycle, you know, I'm on the pill and that induces a cycle. However, that's not a treatment sort of for PCOS. I mean, at the time, of course, I wasn't trying to have any children. So, of course, you know, I was thinking, all right, let's do the birth control and take it from there. And so that's what I did. But when it came time for me to have children, that's when I realized, okay, there are other symptoms to PCOS. And the other symptom to PCOS is that it prevents a woman from being able to ovulate on their own. So I was faced with the fact that, okay, I can't ovulate, so what does this mean? And a woman can have a cycle, a menstrual cycle, and still not ovulate. That's the crazy thing about PCOS.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
Woman. It's different. It shows different symptoms for each woman. So for me, I would have a cycle and then not ovulate, which would mean, okay, I don't ovulate, so I can't get pregnant. That cycle.
Gotcha. Wow, that's enlightening because I did not know that. So you can still have a full-blown cycle and no ovulation is taking place, but only when you have PCOS. Okay, but that's only for a person that has PCOS, right?
Well, to my understanding, that's what happens in some patients that have PCOS. That's my personal journey, yes.
Got it. Okay. So now, does PCOS or what your body was going through, does it affect anything else in your body? Was that affecting any other areas of your body or mentally? Or, I mean, I know emotionally that probably affected you.
It can, it can cause anxiety, depression, and that didn't even have anything to do with trying to conceive at that point, It can have a change in mood. And I would notice that about myself sometime, I would notice that I would be depressed or really moody and sometimes anxious and wonder where that was coming from. And, yeah, some of those symptoms are related to PCOS. There's also physical symptoms, like I would notice, hair growing on my chin or my mustache region, because it gives you a heightened level of hormones that you don't necessarily need as a woman. Weight gain was one of them. So, yes, I mean, there's a myriad of symptoms that are connected to PCOS, but those are the primary ones. The unsteady ovulation, change in mood, and also unsteady menstrual cycle.
Wow. Okay, so before we get to the husband and children, all that stuff, did you have to go through any therapy or any counseling, just from knowing that you had the PCOS and dealing with the depression and things like that? Did they recommend any of that to you? How did you deal with your emotions and just how you were feeling?
I didn't go through that piece of things for counseling until I had my losses, because I really didn't make the connection that the anxiety and the depression at that point could have been related. I just was just mature enough at that young age to be able to understand that. But in retrospect, now I connect the dots, and I'm like, you know what? probably was connected to, my PCOS system.
Right. Wow. See, this is really good because, again, for children or, or even adults that's going through it that have no clue.
Yep.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
I can. Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
All right. Somebody was just trying to call me while we were. Okay. Let me make sure you can. Okay. I'm back. Somebody was calling in the middle of it. And so when parents don't know what to do or adults don't know what to do, this is good. This is really good because now that they know if they were diagnosed with it and if maybe feeling emotionally up and down or what have you, they can now look to possibly getting some counseling or to help regulate it so that way they won't be off, and not have to figure out what's going on. So that's good. That's good. That's good. So
and I'm a mental health as well. So, I do encourage if it gets to a point where you notice your emotions are kind of all over the place, whether you're at the point of trying to have a baby or not, definitely go and talk to somebody. Because even I, as a therapist, have to go see a therapist. There's nothing wrong with it.
Nope, it's healthy. It's healthy. It's healthy. It is very healthy. Yes, that is so important. All right, so let's move forward. So were you dating your husband in high school, or y'all just known each other, and then after high school y'all end up connected?
So we were friends in high school. My husband and I didn't start dating until junior year in college after much arm pulling on his end. He's like, why aren't we dating? Why aren't we dating? I'm like, are you kidding me? We're in college. We're talking about dating. So at any rate, we started dating at about 22. It wasn't until about, 25, 26 that we started, getting more serious. And actually around that age was when I had, a pregnancy. And, of course, we weren't trying because my whole goal was, no, I wanted to be married before I had kids, and we're going to do things the right way. But, hey, listen, some things happen when you're young and you just, go out. Nonetheless, that's when I discovered that I was having some issues with fertility because I actually miscarried that child, and I was about, I would say, 7 or 8 weeks pregnant.
Wow, I'm sorry.
So it's okay. It's okay because, you grow from it.
Right.
And I remember being excited when I first found out that I was pregnant, with our first. And I still acknowledge that as our first. It's our first. That my little baby's in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. That's right.
And I went through all of those emotions and guilt and, was this my fault or could I have done something different as far as looking after my PCOS so this wouldn't happen? All of that, all of those things. My now husband, he was very supportive at that time, but we both really didn't understand what was going on. So through that loss, we were able to, okay, let's go to the fertility specialist. Let's find out what's going on. Let's find out what treatments are available. It opened the Pandora's box for us to educate ourselves about the next steps.
That's good. That is really good. That is so, I commend both of you for just being, supportive to each other and for your husband. That's huge because, some men may be trying to point the finger or blame or, push you away or run away. But it sounds, well, clearly he's still there because we know y'all still married, that he was there from day one. So that's beautiful. Did you tell him beforehand that you had the PCOS going on, or did he know, or he did? Okay.
He knew. Neither one of us at that, we were in our early 20s, so neither one of us really understood the impact until we started really seriously family planning, you know. And it was when we were trying to conceive our now son Jai, my 7-year-old miracle baby, that we really understood, okay, this is not going to be easy for us. It's not going to be ice cream and cake for us. But we're willing to go to the fertility appointments. And it took us about 1.5 years for Jai to get here.
Wow.
We went to a fertility specialist. I had to take all kinds of medications to ovulate. That was my course of treatment. I had to take medications in order to ovulate, to stimulate ovulation. And that in and of itself was like, you know how you're PMSing right before your cycle? And you want chocolate, and then you want salt the next time? Okay, so imagine that times 10.
Oh,
that's
my word. Wow.
I was willing to stick it through, you know, because I knew that God had a plan for us to have children. I knew it. I would dream of my kids. I wrote in the journal every day about bringing Jai here, you know. And I say that to women who don't have children yet, and this might be your first round with fertility treatment, with whatever, you know, fertility obstacle that you are going through right now. Right. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Yes. That is great advice. Wow. Oh, my gosh. So that's, yeah. All right. So we're going to get to Jai, because was Jai number 2?
Jai was number 2 after 1.5 years of poking, prodding, blood work, specimen evaluation from me, specimen evaluation from my husband. All right, you're not ovulating this month. Let's change this medication. 1.5 years, and then finally, on my husband's 30th birthday, we found out that we were pregnant.
What a yeah, girl. This was not just for y'all to experience. I could already see how it's being. Wow. That is beautiful. Oh, my goodness. So that was huge for him, a huge surprise for his birthday for you guys. Right. But I want to go back. Yeah, that's huge. That is so huge. Oh, my goodness. But I wanted to go back to now that, like, so what you know how we say sometimes, if I knew back then what I know now, I would have done X, Y, Z. So for the people who will listen to this and know that may be dealing with PCOS and they're not married yet or they're not in a relationship yet, would you recommend that they tell the person about PCOS, or just kind of leave it as, like, you know, we'll talk about it in the event once we're ready to conceive? Because I'm almost saying it in the sense of, should that be a something that both parties need to know going in, so that way they can kind of avoid, God forbid that wouldn't happen, the guy deciding that he wants to walk away once they do try to start the first round when it is that time. And hopefully the person wouldn't do this, but I'm just trying to eliminate things that, you know, person may not know that they should do, but because you went through it, what would you say?
I would say, whether you have PCOS or not, you know, whatever the situation is, before you marry someone or even think about starting a relationship with someone, yeah, you need to be upfront about what's going on, you know? Okay. Because you need that support, or you need to know early on if that person is not the right person to be supportive. And that's not to say that the person won't ever be supportive, but then, you know, if you find yourself with a spouse or a partner who's not, it could be, should I say, internalized anger coming out the wrong way, or disappointment. And so it comes across as, oh, it's your fault, you know? You can't have children because you have this condition, where it could be that person is feeling hurt and disappointed. And by you guys going into couples counseling, and this goes back to your question too earlier about partners and spouses who may not be as supportive. there's an underlying reason why. They just don't understand the process. So by going to counseling and going to the fertility appointments and understanding, you're able to support one another, you know?
Yes.
So, yes, to answer your question, I think being honest from the door about the condition is the most helpful.
Oh, that's good. That's good advice. That's good because sometimes people try to hide it. I mean, I've known different people, not with PCOS, but, you know, just different things that they have going on. They don't want to disclose it. Oh, I'll give you a prime example. I had someone that I knew who so she knew that the person didn't want to have children, but she did. And so she figured, oh, I'll change their mind later on as we got into a relationship. And so it ended up, they're separated because that was a big deal for her and it was a big deal for him that he did not want children and she did. It's like you can't think that somebody's just going to change or change their mind once they get down the line. You know, be upfront. So that's why I wanted to bring that out. Just, you know, especially for something like this, no one should go blind if you know.
I understand the opposite end though of why someone may not initially be willing to share the condition that they have. You know, in this case, we're talking about PCOS. I totally understand why, because there's an underlying sense of guilt that women have if they're not able to have children. I mean, we are the givers of life. And if we can't fulfill that request, whether it's with, you know, guy A, B, or C, or partner A, B, and C, you know, there's a certain level of embarrassment, stigmatism, and these are things that we need to start working on changing. Because this is not a topic that women talk about. Infertility is not a topic that women talk about, but it happens in, you know, probably about 10 households on my block. So you're not alone in this journey. You are so not alone.
That's good, Janine. I'm glad you said that. That is so good. We're not. We have to stop thinking that we're the only ones or we're alone. We have to lean on, and it may not be somebody in your immediate circle, but you got to find somebody. If you go, there's so many groups now. Those Facebook groups, you can find. Look how we found each other. I mean, God will put that together. And just to go back to what you said about you prayed and asked, you know, what you put out there and wanting to be interviewed. Well, I prayed and asked God to send me people that I can interview about topics that are not heavily spoken about. And then that came up. So I was like, oh, my gosh, talking about, you know, divine. Yes. My goodness. So now let's get to Jai. So Jai came now, well, before he came, while you were, because we know you had the miscarriage before, what kind of special treatment did you have to have the whole pregnancy? Did you have to be on, like, what do they call that? Like extra care and things like that?
Yeah, so when I got pregnant with Jai, finally the getting pregnant part was there, and then the keeping the pregnancy came up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I have until 10, 12 weeks to keep this pregnancy. What do we do? And all due respect, no form of medication can keep a pregnancy. It just doesn't exist. If your body is going to miscarry, it will. But you take progesterone. I had to take progesterone insertions, vaginal insertions. And you know what? I'm not even embarrassed to say it. Yes, I had to have vaginal insertions. I had to lay on my back for like 30 minutes for it to absorb. I had to take oral progesterone. So once you do get pregnant, and this is not for all women, so please don't feel like this is going to be your journey. This was mine for those that are watching and listening. But yes, I had to keep on medication to keep the pregnancy. And that was nerve-wracking because I'm like, oh, my God, am I going to lose a baby? I lost the first one, and I didn't even know I was pregnant. So am I going to lose this one?
Wow. But I love it. I'm sorry, say it again?
That's when your faith kicks in. That's for me when my faith kicks in.
Yeah.
And I was in my room in my Bible, you know, touching my womb. God, keep my womb, keep my baby, you know.
Yeah.
Sustain life. Writing in a journal. This is what I envision my baby to be like. There were moments we'd be in bed, me and my husband, and we would say, okay, God, I want you to give Jai my husband's eyes and his mouth, and I want him to have my hair, and I want him to have my husband's hands and my feet. And you know, lo and behold, my son came out looking just like that.
Are you, girl, you spoke it up. You did it. Wow.
Right.
Wow. So, wow. Look at the power of the words and what we can say and do. And God, He doesn't want to withhold any good thing from us. And He says that in His word. And so we have to just really know that His word is truth. And He's not a God that lies. So, boom. You got to worry. Oh, man.
Getting my first miscarriage as, okay, God's like, listen, you did not paid attention to this for long enough. So something's going to happen so that you pay attention. And then this way, when it's time for you to actually work on conceiving, then you'll know what to do, and I'll be there to guide you. So without that miscarriage, I wouldn't have known that I had trouble ovulating. I would not have known that.
Got it. Wow. Wow. Oh, man. So this is just, I could feel, I mean, I know that was, Jai is what, 8 now? Is he 8 or 10?
He'll be 8 on January the 12th.
Oh, okay. Wow. So he'll be, yeah. So after you went through the 12 weeks of that, you know, the first trimester, then what was next? Was it just back to regular appointments, or you still had to be kind of on watch? High risk. Was it high risk pregnancy?
No, it wasn't high risk. No, not at all. Not for the first one. After the 12 weeks, then they transfer you to a regular OBGYN doctor. Your fertility specialist there does. And then you're monitored like regular. But, you know, for me, I was like, wait a minute. I go from fertility and I'm going to appointments every week. Now you mean to tell me I can't hear my baby's heartbeat every month? There's something wrong. No, we're not doing this. But yes, as long as it was, you know, I went for my monthly appointments. I do have another condition which is called Rh negative blood type. So it's basically the blood type where your body can fight the baby like it's a foreign object. So I had to have injections at the 7-month mark and then after pregnancy to prevent future pregnancies, you know, my body fighting future pregnancies.
Oh, wow. Wow. So Rh negative came along after the second baby, or is that something that was always there, which is why it was fighting against the first one?
I from the first miscarriage.
Got it. Got you. Wow. So you had, look at this though. I mean, you had a double thing coming up, you were fighting against. But even with that, God said it ain't so. I don't care what she has. If I'm going to appoint her to have a baby, she's going to have a baby. Period.
Have a baby. And it doesn't matter who your spiritual higher power is, because I realize that other people may be watching this and they might not be Christians. Whoever your spiritual higher power is, please believe that they're going to fulfill that request. And please believe that they're going to place the right doctors, the right nurses, the right place of employment who's going to be flexible with your hours, the right spouse, the right partner, the right friends, the right family, because you can't get through this alone. You just cannot, and you should not get through this alone.
Yeah, you definitely need support. That is 100%. I just couldn't even imagine. But I'm just so, like, you know, just in awe by your story, because I'm like, look at all that happened, and you still, because and how I know, because I kind of know the story already since we talked about it beforehand. So Jai came, and he's here, and yay, he's all healthy, and everything is good. And Jai went home and started living life, and then decided what next after that.
So we decided, and I mind you, probably when Jai was about 5, we decided, okay, we want to try again. And the doctors were like, you know, most people who have it, their bodies usually go back and they don't need the fertility treatments, and let's see how things pan out. You might not need, you know, extra progesterone. You might not need help conceiving. And lo and behold, for us, that was so false. We did get pregnant without the assistance of fertility medication. So I didn't need the Clomid and the extra medication for ovulation. However, whatever was going on with my body related to the PCOS, decided that at the beginning of my 12th week, that no heartbeat and the baby was no more. Oh. And this just happened recently for us, you know, in mid-August. So, I mean, this is really fresh. However, I went to therapy twice a week. I had time off from work. I went through my healing process. My husband was supportive and still is. And we're like, you know what? We're going to try again. We're going to keep trying until our spiritual higher power restores life.
Wow. I tell you, you're amazing. You really are amazing, because some people would have just said, nope, I give up. Some people would have, you know, it would have been too traumatic for them to go through it again. And you guys have not internalized it as anything other than this is your story, and doesn't mean that it's over. And until God, you know, does something different, then you're going to keep going. And I love it.
Right.
And that gives people encouragement, because let's talk about your age, too, if you're okay with that. Because we know even, okay, so you are almost 40, right?
I'm 30 now. I'll be 40 on December 5th, and I'm so excited to enter 40.
40s are the new 30s, so you got to let us know.
Yes. I want to say something, though. I don't want to place a false conception or a misconception that I was strong all the time, because I totally was not. When we first heard of the loss and went to the doctors and found out, okay, you know, there's no heartbeat. Once we went to the doctors 2 weeks before, and there was a heartbeat strong, and I started, bleeding at work. That's how I discovered it. Went to the doctors, there was no heartbeat. Believe me, I was crushed. You know, I was completely crushed, entered into depression, entered into anxiety. I had thoughts, you know, again, like, oh my God, let's not do this. I can't do this. But then in the back of my mind, and with my husband's support, you know, and he also had that same tendency. Okay, I don't want to see you go through that again. Let's not do this again. But something tugging in me was like, Janine, I've always kept you. I've never left you, never forsaken you. So if you're willing to have the faith to try again, then I'm going to create the avenues for you to do just that. So I want to that is stress. There is nothing wrong with being depressed, being anxious, grieving, because that is the process of miscarriage. It is the process.
And it's a loss. It's a loss. And people think a loss is just, and in your case it was a loss and that ended up being a death. But loss, whether it's loss of a pet, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of whatever, a friend moving away, grieving is still real. And we still go through.
Very normal. It is an emotion that's not comfortable, but you need to allow yourself to experience it so that you can heal from it. It doesn't take there's no time frame for it. So whereas somebody might say, I'm not ready to start again. That's okay. That's okay. Mm-hmm. You have to do it in your own time when you are ready to try again.
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up. You're absolutely right. That grieving is real. And you being a counselor, knowing that is just the cycles of grieving is real. And like you said, people are going to go through it. How and what timing, we don't know, but the cycle of how it happens, I had to go through grievance counseling when I lost my mom, but I also became a grievance, not a counselor, but someone who can facilitate grievance courses. And when I saw that actual cycle, I was like, oh, this is, and all those emotions that are on that little diagram are real.
Right.
You get numb. You feel numb. Yeah, you feel numb. You feel
the denial, the sadness, the shock. I mean, you experience all of those with any loss, and it is the same with miscarriage, I think women place a stigma, not all women, but they say, oh, the baby wasn't here yet, the baby wasn't born, it didn't go 9 months. But what people don't realize is women have stillbirths, and that's still a form of miscarriage. You can have a miscarriage at 28 weeks pregnant and have to deliver that baby. So it doesn't matter if you were 1 week, 4 weeks, 20 weeks, 32 weeks. A loss is a loss, and I would encourage you to get with a good counselor. Go to your counseling twice a week if you need it. Go to support groups. Go to your church. Get on your knees. Go in your war room. And for yourself.
That's right. That is right. Oh, my goodness. So, man, this was so good. So good. And, again, our prayers and condolences to you. And I know you're saying it's okay, but it's still, like you said, fresh, because you just went through this again in August. Right. And so we are what are we in? November. We're in November, so that was just like 3 months ago.
Wait a minute. We're in November. Thanksgiving's going to be in 2 weeks, girlfriend. We're losing track of time.
I'm telling you, oh my gosh. So wow. Time is flying, man. Time is flying for real. Like November, I feel like it's almost.
I was shaking my head, yes, with you. Like, it's October. No, it's totally not anymore.
It's November. Gosh. Oh my goodness. Lord. So we want to definitely stay, connected and posted on what, happens, after this. But I know you said you and your husband are ready. Now, tell us, what does the doctor recommend as far as time frame to start? Like, do they say wait after you have the miscarriage, like a couple of weeks, months? When should a person start to try again?
It depends on your body. So when you do miscarry, you need to let yourself heal physically, of course, because, I had to have a D&E. And I don't know if most people know what that is, but that's basically the same sort of mechanism or surgery that a person would have if they were to have an abortion. Right. But because the baby has expired, they have to remove the baby somehow. So that was one of the options. I could have either taken a pill to expel the baby. I could have let my body do it naturally, which posed some risk because then, bacteria and different things can cause certain things to happen in my body. Or I could have elected to have the D&E. And with my past experience with miscarriage, I elected to have the D&E. And so I had to give myself a period of physical time to heal. That may not be the same journey for another woman. And then I also had to give myself emotional time to heal. So myself personally, I took like 8 weeks to be like, you know what? No, we're not doing anything.
Okay. So 8 weeks on average is about a good time to wait before your body is ready to start to conceive again.
That's my time. What I'm saying is that might not be another woman's timing. Another woman, once they miscarry, they can go ahead the next month and start the process again. The best thing to do is to get with a fertility specialist and have them map out a time frame for you to restart.
Gotcha. That's good. That's really good. Man, this has just been so enlightening because I did not know all of this. And, I just didn't. I just did not know what it all meant. So I thank you for, one, being able to come on and to be able to share and to do it so freely. And so, it was just a humbling experience, but also to, you educated us on a lot, and you really helped women who are going to be watching this, and men, to be able to be empathetic with a person who's going through this, to be supportive of a person that's going through this, and to help a person who's going through this not to be ashamed, but to continue to stay strong and have faith and just keep going. But to also take that time, that self-care, too, to heal, to get the counseling that they need beforehand, after, all of that, when being diagnosed with PCOS, and for people who don't have PCOS, but just people who had a miscarriage, because you even gave nuggets for that.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, there's plenty of women with miscarriage and they don't have PCOS, and they may not even have a diagnosed medical condition associated with miscarriage and are just having recurrent miscarriage. The best thing to do is to see a fertility specialist. Find one in your area and go for your appointment so that they can help to monitor your progress.
Yes, I totally agree. Man, this has been so good. I don't know if you have any last comments or words, anything else that you want to share. You've already shared a whole lot, and a lot. And so this is just been awesome. But you may have something there that you want to share that I may not have asked. So yes, this is your time to please, any last remarks that you have.
Don't give up hope, whether it is your first pregnancy, your second, your fourth, your eighth child, whatever the case may be. Don't give up hope. Don't let anybody tell you that you're too old to have a child. You need to find another fertility specialist. That's the thing.
That's right. You say it.
There's no such thing as being too old, but if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, even middle 40s, there are mechanisms to help you to conceive, whether it's IUI, which is insemination, or IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. Just do your research, and when you link up with a fertility specialist, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Another tip that I want to share is there is nothing debilitating, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing crazy about your body if you're having miscarriages. Talk about it, because for a long time, I didn't talk about it, I didn't tell anybody that I was having miscarriages. And I realized that by not doing that, I was doing a disservice to myself for getting the support that I needed to try again.
That's good. That is so good. Wow. We thank you so much, Janine, and I'm going to thank you for all the women who that will be watching this that you may have never meet, but they will be sharing your story and telling your story all over the world, because, again, this is something that is not spoken about. And like you said, X amount of years ago when you found out, I just recently heard of PCOS within the past, 4 years. So I didn't even know this was something years ago. Yeah, right. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait for other people to feel this feeling that I have, just more empowered and educated by this topic. And now from what I learned, I can be a supporter, encourager, and just direct people right to this video, and so they can be.
My calling me in the background. I don't know if you hear him. He's saying, "Mom, Mom."
Oh, no, I love it. We get to do life. We get to do life with our children, with our family. So I love it.
Yes, that's the mommy juggling the theme that you have. It is the mommy juggling.
That is exactly what we did. That's right. Well, thank you again so much, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, we applaud Janine for coming on. We just thank her, and we're just so grateful for her and her spirit and just being led by God to share what she shared with us on tonight. you just continue to follow her journey. You can find her on, and all her information will be tagged in the post and in the YouTubes and everything there. So you'll be able to find Janine. And if you have any questions, I'm sure she'll be willing to take your questions via inbox. But until the next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful midday, wherever you are in the world watching this, when you watch it. Take care, God bless, and stay connected to us. Find us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter. You can find us on LinkedIn, and we'll be there to have more interviews just like this. All right, Janine, I know you got to go do mommy stuff, so you take care, and thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, Latasha. Thank you for having me, and God bless all of you. Stay encouraged.
Amen. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. So I had to go.